Steeping grains is basically making a tea-like liquid from soaking grains in water. We do this to give our brews a better body, better head retention and colour, a fresher brew, improve the overall flavour of your kit, and a better mouthfeel to boot. Grains come in different varieties and flavours for us to experiment with. The two main types are base malts and speciality malts. Some base malt varieties include pale malts, pilsner malts, Munich malts, Vienna malts and lager malts. Base malts provide fermentable sugars and free amino nitrogen for the yeast to consume during fermentation. These are only to be used for mashing and are not fit for our purpose of steeping, so avoid these types of grains. Speciality malts can be steeped and include caramel, Carahel, crystal malt, Carpils and chocolate malt, to name but a few. If you brew lager or pilsners, stick with the top 4 on this list to start with, and try steeping grains first with a kit you've already brewed before. There are a few golden rules before you start steeping. Don't use too much water or steep above 77 degrees centigrade, as this will leach tannins from the grains, causing off flavours. You don't want to use a lot of grains also, as it will be too overpowering. And the last one is don't steep too long, as this will also lead to any off flavours. Grains come in crushed and uncrushed form. These are crushed. We need to steep crushed grains like this, and they have a shelf life of around 2 to 3 months. These ones, as you can see, are uncrushed. They obviously need to be crushed before we steep, and these have a shelf life of around a year. To properly store your grains, you're going to need a large airtight container like this, some food grade silica gel sachets to trap the moisture like this, a seal up bag which will obviously put the grains and the silica gel packet into. You're going to want to make sure that you obviously push all of the air out as you possibly can. And then obviously place them in your airtight container with another sachet of silica gel. You then want to store this in a cool, dark place. As I said earlier, the crushed grains will last about 2 to 3 months, and the uncrushed grains should last you about a year. So this is the selection of the equipment you're going to need. So first up, you're going to need a 3 to 10 litre stew pot with a lid, obviously depending on how much water you're going to be using. We're going to need a large metal sieve, big enough to rest on the side of your pot. A 1 litre saucepan. Your grains obviously. Your 18-inch brewing spoon, or any large spoon that you have, a digital thermometer and a set of digital scales. Last but not least, you're going to need a grain bag. I'm just using a small one, but these are fully reusable and you just wash them after use. Right, so let's get cracking. So first up, you obviously want to weigh out your crushed grains. You want to start with only about 150 grams, just so you know how it's going to change your kits, and obviously do it in a kit that you brewed before. You can always start to add more grains after you've done it a few times. You then want to pour it into your grain bag and tie it up nice and securely. You then want to tap the bag just to get any small particles out. You now want to put your oven on 50 degrees centigrade and then turn it off immediately once it reaches that temperature. So start with 1.5 litres of water for 150 grams, and you can move it up to 2 litres for obviously more grain. You're aiming for 70 degrees centigrade temperature before we can add our grain bag. I like to use 1.2 litres of boiling water and then top that up with 300 millilitres of cold water. This should be near our target, but you can always put your stove on and turn it off to get the right temperature. Ideal, right, as you can see we're at our right temperature. You can now add your grain bag, dunking it lots of times. This is to make sure that all the hot water is going to soak in there. You then want to put your lid on and then put it into your oven. Quick note, just make sure that your oven is not on and it's just still warm from earlier. You now want to leave it steeping for between 20 to 25 minutes, but no longer than 30 minutes. Just set yourself a timer. So 5 minutes before your steeping's up, you want to get 500 millilitres of water at 70 degrees centigrade. We're going to be using this for sparging in a moment. After the time is up, you can take out the oven and then lift up your bag carefully, allowing it to drain a little. Don't be tempted though to squeeze it. You then want to put this into your sieve and then undo your bag carefully. Sparging is basically just rinsing out any leftover flavours etc. from our grains, as we want to get all that goodness out. Now slowly pour your sparge water over your grains and allow it to drain. Just obviously don't squeeze this bag. You can now throw away your grains, but if you're using a grain bag, they're reusable. But if you're going to be using a muslin bag, just throw that away. Now boil your steeped water for 10 minutes to kill off any bugs. I'll change the saucepan as my hob's rubbish. After 10 minutes, you can use this to dissolve your kit instead of your normal boiled water. It's as simple as that. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell for future videos. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Stay safe.